Hey, this is Arthur Hill, Chief Technical Strategist at TrendInvestorPro.com. You are tuned in to Next Level Charting. Thank you very much for joining us for this show on Thursday, October 15th. So we're going to do a little update on SPY and QQQ. Then we're going to turn to the gaming, video, and eSports ETFs and look at those in depth. Then we're going to look at the big five stocks when it comes to video gaming and then some of the smaller players. So we're going to start with a quick check on the broader market situation, looking at SPY and QQQ. And here I am on StockCharts ACP, and I've got the trend composite there, and you can see that all five indicators are on bullish signals. And then below I have the momentum composite. I just want to show you the settings that I've used for this momentum composite because I changed them up a little bit. We've got 10-period RSI, 70 and 30 for overbought, oversold. Percent B with 1 and 0 for overbought, oversold. Those are standard. And then Stoke Close I changed to 90 and 10 for overbought, oversold. And CCI I changed to 150 and minus 150 for overbought and oversold. I made those a little bit more sensitive, and I did that with normalized rock as well. I put it to 2 and minus 2. So that would increase the number of oversold and overbought readings. And you can see we didn't become very oversold there towards the end of September, the 23rd there. And what we had here was a falling wedge forming on this chart. And it's a pretty standard correction. You know, you had this big advance and you're traced about 2/3. And then we got the breakout there and some follow through. So yeah, maybe we're a little bit extended short term. You can see 4 of the indicators became overbought, but overbought in an uptrend really isn't that of a negative, if you will. I mean, you know, maybe we get a pullback to this breakout zone, and that would be another opportunity there. Now, if we turn to QQQ, we can see a similar situation here. We've got the falling wedge there in September, and we had a breakout and a little bit of follow through. And so you have kind of this zone here, 275, 278 or whatever that marks support. So if you get a little throwback there, maybe we get a bounce. But I think the most important thing to keep in mind is the trend is up. All the trend indicators are bullish, and they have been bullish there since the middle part of April. You can see the trend composite went to +1 there. And we're not oversold. We were mildly oversold at the end of September. So that was the setup when you're oversold in an uptrend. So video games and eSports have become especially popular over the last 6 to 8 months. I mean, they've always been popular, but I think even more so. And there are a number of ETFs that cover this theme, this investment theme. And even if you don't trade the ETFs, you can go to the fund's website to find out the holdings, or you can go to ETFDB, etfdatabase.com to learn more about the ETFs. But I often go to the website to find the holdings, to see which stocks are driving that ETF, and also to look at the individual charts. So you can see here we've got GAMR. This is from ETFMG, is the fund family. And on all of these sites, you can scroll down to read information about the ETF. Fairly high expense ratio, 0.75%. And then I think what I'm after here is the top holdings. And there you can see all the stocks. So we can see that there are relatively equally weighted, these holdings here. And we've got some of the smaller players, if you will. So if you're looking for a more aggressive ETF, that might be one to consider. And then we've got ESPO from VanEck, and they've done a number of cutting-edge ETFs. They've been in the business for quite a while, the ETF business. And there you can read all the details about the fund. And then we have the holdings, and we can see Tencent, NVIDIA, and AMD are the top holdings. And I scroll over there you can see that those three are pretty big as well as the other two. So the top 5 or 6 account for a good position of this ETF. And you can see the different stocks here. Not all of them are traded on the US, but you can get an idea of what stocks you might want to look at. And then the other one is called NERD, N-E-R-D. Pretty silly name, I think, because it's not just nerds playing video games and eSports. And then you look at the holdings, and there we can see Tencent, Activision Blizzard, and we have CTech Limited, Bilibili, and Ubisoft. And I'm going to look at a number of these ETFs and stocks now. So first up for the ETFs, we have GAMR, and you can see it's been in an uptrend since the trend composite turned bullish in mid-April, and it's staying positive. We're not even getting any real oversold readings here, but we have a big advance and a consolidation, and a consolidation within an uptrend is typically a bullish continuation pattern. So maybe we had a little bit of a wedge thingy there and a bit of a breakout. But it's just an uptrend here, and it seems to be continuing and bullish. Here is ESPO, and it has been bullish since early April there and moving higher, 52-week high. And then it kind of consolidated a little bit and continued higher. There's not really a pattern at work here, but it is an uptrend overall. And finally, here's the eSports and Digital Entertainment ETF, NERD. And there you can see the big advance to new highs. It hasn't been trading that long. You can see there's the 200-day when it started there. And it had a bit of a pullback there and a breakout working. Now we're going to look at the big 5, as I like to call them, for the video gaming stocks. That would be Electronic Arts, Activision, Take-Two, Nintendo, and Tencent. And we can see here that there's Electronic Arts. And look at the trend composite. It turned bullish before the trend composite turned bullish on the NASDAQ 100 or SPY. So it was a leader there with that takeoff in April. And we had a really big run up there into August, like with all of the stocks, and then had this pullback. And there you can see the momentum composite got to -5, which means all 5 indicators were oversold. And then you got some support after that. And EA has been firming here, establishing support just above the rising 200-day. So you got an uptrend, you got support, you're above the rising 200-day, and now we're getting a bounce, and it looks like it's poised to break out and challenge that high, if not break it. So this is a bullish looking chart. Next up, we have Activision, and there you can see it turning bullish there in the early part of April, and it's still bullish. The long-term trend is up. You're above the rising 200-day. And so when you get a pullback, it's considered a correction within a bigger uptrend, and you expect that bigger uptrend to resume. Now, this is some sort of, zigzag lower. We're getting some firmness here, and you can see we were oversold in early September with that sharp decline and then firmed, and it looks like we're poised to get a breakout. I would actually put the line there based on these highs. So a breakout there opens the door to a continuation higher. Now you can see how highly correlated these stocks are, because here is Take-Two, and it's got a similar pattern working here, the big advance and then the correction. And that's what we're looking for. The correction is kind of giving you that second chance to partake in a bigger uptrend. So we got oversold here in the early mid part of September, and we don't have a good falling channel or wedge to work on, but you can see a little bit of relative strength here in Take-Two because we have a higher low from September to October, and we're already breaking above that high. So I think this is the strongest one of the 3 so far. Here is Nintendo, and there you can see the uptrend there with the trend composite staying bullish since the beginning of April. We're above the 200-day, and it's a little bit more choppy here. It's an ADR, I believe, but you have a consolidation basically in an uptrend, and I would expect a breakout and a continuation higher for the simple fact that the bigger trend is up, and I expect continuation over reversal. So here is Tencent Holdings, and we've been seeing some strength in Chinese stocks. And look at this trend composite. It's been bullish since the latter part of March. It was one of the first to turn bullish. And then it's kind of been in a long consolidation here, but it looks like it is breaking out there and ready to continue higher. And now we'll look at some of these smaller players here. We've got SciPlay, and we can see that it had this pullback here to the 200-day, nice little wedge and a breakout and a new high, and then a throwback there. But I would see a support zone here around 14 and change there. And so it's firming here at support. And here is Glu Mobile, and they are the only ones that are in a downtrend. You can see the trend composite is negative there. But if you look at the chart, you had this big breakout there in April, and it came back to that breakout zone and the 200-day. So, this is a big advance, maybe a 50% retracement, firming around 7, and I do see a breakout working there. It's a low-price stock, so that means it has above average risk, but getting back above that rising 200-day, I think, is positive. So just to note that I just updated the all-weather ETF list at trendinvestorpro.com, and I added a core plus list and a master ETF list. And what are these? Well, the all-weather list is based on the principles from Ray Dalio. In other words, it's about having something to trade no matter what the market conditions. It's 50 ETFs, 37 are related to the stock market, 13 are alternative ETFs to give you opportunities should the stock market turn down. Now, the core list is a more of a high beta list because it's very focused on industry groups and thematic ETFs, such as these gaming ETFs that I just showed you. And then the master list has 240 ETFs that covers pretty much everything. Well, it's about 10% of the ETF universe, but it does have international ETFs, bond ETFs, commodities, industry groups, sectors, and of course, the major index ETFs. And all of these lists are organized in a logical top-down format to make it easy for the analysis process to be streamlined. You've got the major index ETFs at the top. Then you've got the sector ETFs. This is the all-weather list, by the way. And then you've got a highly curated list of the most important industry group ETFs. So there's 37 stock-related ETFs. And then we get to the 13 alternatives, because stocks are not always the place to be. But when the stock market is in a bull market, you want to be in stocks. But when it's not, then you want to look at bonds, commodities, and currencies. So this list and others are available to subscribers at trendinvestorpro.com. So that concludes this edition of Next Level Charting. Again, check out trendinvestorpro.com if you'd like to know more about our services, or follow me on Twitter at Arthur Hill. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're going to bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.